This video only matters if we want to grow. And honestly, you don't have to grow. We all have the freedom to do whatever we want with our lives. And my values, I feel like growing is just one of the best things to do in life. That's what all of life does, is grow, right? And we are a piece of life. So I want to do what I can to grow. Growing is beautiful. It's amazing, right? So that's the only reason this video matters. And I'm going to share something that once I started doing this, I started growing so much faster and just I became so much happier and fulfilled as a person. And I think that this is maybe the number one thing that has stopped me from growing in the past and stops society as a whole from growing. So I'm gonna share some of those things. So the thing, and I'm gonna explain about it, but it is allowing myself to be wrong, allowing myself to fuck up. And this goes, just hear me out on some things here. And I love you, and thank you for supporting the channel. You ever talk with a close family member, a friend, just someone close to you, right? And you're just talking about something in your relationship with them. Maybe you're saying like, hey, look, like, I feel like you don't communicate enough to me. Like, I wish I knew what was going on in your mind. You know, don't just sit there and be angry without telling me why. I want to hear it, communicate. And maybe their response is, I communicate well enough. I do totally fine with that. And maybe the reality is that they're not communicating, you know? And maybe they are, and maybe we're the ones that are wrong about this, it's okay to be wrong about it, but I'll get to that, right? But you ever have these situations where you bring something up to somebody and it's like they're just defending themselves instead of being open to like, hey, I can actually grow as a person. I can actually do something to improve our relationship together and all that stuff. Instead of doing that, instead of having that openness to grow, it's, I'm going to defend myself because I'm not doing anything wrong. And isn't that frustrating? So let's talk about this. Defending ourselves. Why do we do this? Because if we're all being honest, I'm talking about when we're frustrated when someone else is doing that to us, but we all do this. And we do this, it's beyond just a relationship with other people. We do this with ourselves. We won't even admit to things that we need to personally grow about because we want to tell ourselves that I don't need to grow. I'm already fine. Why do we do this? Why do we defend ourselves so hard? Because we have a fear of being wrong. We have a fear of fucking up. We have a fear of not being perfect about everything. And now we can't grow because now we're stuck defending ourselves instead of being open to actually growing. And isn't it ironic that the act of defending ourselves is actually the greatest attack on ourselves? I'm going to say that again. The act of defending ourselves is the greatest attack on ourselves. Because when we try to defend ourselves, all we do is stop ourselves from growing. If you stop defending yourself so much and start opening up to like how we can change and grow as a person, life becomes so much better. You become happier. You become more fulfilled. You start doing the things that you truly want to do in your life. And I'll explain, some examples for me, right? I've talked about this a lot on my channel, but like I grew up and I learned something that made me think I'm not good enough. And for a long time it took me a while to even admit to myself that I don't feel good enough. Because I would say, oh no, I feel good enough. I feel fine. I'm happy. I just lie to myself. I'm happy. That's me defending myself. But as soon as I was like, oh, I don't feel good enough. Actually, I don't even feel happy. As soon as I started admitting those things to myself, It's not even admitting, because that sounds bad. It sounds like there's shame around it. I have to admit something. It's not even admitting. It's just realizing the truth and not being afraid to be wrong, not being afraid to need to be, not being afraid to have room for growth, because we will always have room for growth for the rest of our lives. There's never a fully grown version of ourselves. We're just constantly growing. And it's so beautiful and fun and wonderful to grow, you know? But what I was saying is, once I recognize that I don't feel good enough and that I don't feel happy, that is what allowed me to start going on this journey of, all right, why don't I feel good enough? Why don't I feel happy? Start asking myself these questions and start working on doing the inner work to start healing that. And the state of good enough I feel now, and the state of happiness I feel now, is freaking miles than it was like 5 years ago. Because I recognize this, and I wasn't afraid to be wrong about it. And all of us have dozens of things, if we're being honest. We have dozens of things that we want to defend ourselves about. I still have a bunch of stuff, I'm sure, you know? But in my experience of life, the more I open myself to recognizing those things, I start growing. And that just leads to me being a happier person in this life. So the true way to defend yourself is to stop defending yourself, because that's what frees yourself. So, why do we fear being wrong? Why do we have this fear? And here's my theory. I think that our society as a whole, or at least the society that I live in, there is shame about being wrong. When you're in an argument with somebody and they prove you wrong, what do they say? Told you so. Haha, told you so. Gotcha. I gotcha. Haha. So if you win the argument, you feel pride. If you lose the argument, you feel shame and you get put down. This is a whole bunch of bullshit, and this is destroying society as a whole. Okay? Look at politics. Look at religion. Look at the big fights we have, to the point of literal war. If we were having a political debate with somebody, if we are defending ourselves, see, this is what happens, right? When you're watching these big political debates, people are not open at all to changing their mind. No one's open to changing their mind. Everyone has picked a stance and fights to the death for it. Even if you know you're wrong, half the time we still keep arguing. We still keep arguing the point because we don't want to admit that we're wrong about something. But look at what this causes to the world. I can talk on my own country in America. Republicans versus Democrats, and it's war. I shouldn't use the word war so lightly, because it's not war. There's actual places where war is happening. I shouldn't use that word so lightly. But you get my point. It's so heated. It's so divided. The fights are nasty. People yell at each other and say really mean things. If you think this, you're an idiot. Of course we're going to feel ashamed to be wrong about something when people are telling us, well, if you think this, you're an idiot. Of course. Okay? But what if we changed the culture? What if we changed the culture? What if it doesn't have to be like that? What if you're talking to someone and it's I'm no longer identified with a political party? Fuck all of that, because then you start having to protect your identity, right? I just have to defend myself because I am a Democrat, I am a Republican, and I have to defend. No, what if we stopped doing all that and just had a conversation with someone and we're just like, oh, you made a good point. Yeah, okay, I agree with that. And then the other person doesn't see that as a weakness. The other person's like, cool, we're having a conversation. And guess what? Now I may hear something you say and now I might change my mind. Because none of us should just have our minds totally set on this thing. That's what stops us from growing. As soon as we believe we have everything figured out, is as soon as we stop growing. I'll say that again. The moment we think we have everything figured out in life is the moment we stop growing. Because growth requires openness. See this tree? What if there was no space for the branches to grow? Being open-minded and not stuck in our ways about what we think is the definition of giving this tree freedom and space to grow out and expand. Growth is change. If we don't ever change our mindset throughout our whole life and we were always just right about everything, then we'll never grow. It seems so simple, but it's not, because we've just got this drilled into our heads that it's shameful to be wrong, but it's not. And it's literally causing us all to be unhappy. Because like I said with myself, I could not become happier until I realized that I wasn't happy, until I realized that, hey, maybe I don't have all this figured out. Maybe I don't have life all figured out. That's what allowed me to start growing. So one, it's literally hurting the level of just happiness of people in the world. And two, it's just causing everyone to fight with each other because I have to tell everyone that I'm right and you're wrong and blah, blah, blah. It's stupid. It's so dumb. I don't like that. And guess what? Maybe you disagree with me. And guess what? I'm open to being wrong, that it's okay to be wrong. Maybe it's bad to be wrong. I don't know, but tell me why. And I'm open. There's no shame. I could be wrong. All 12 minutes so far of this video could be complete bullshit. Maybe I'm wrong about everything I'm saying. And that's one of the biggest things that's helped me grow is like, this is my current mindset, but I know that my mindset will change throughout the rest of my life. This is what's been valuable for me so far in life, you know? But I don't want to be stuck in it because I want to be able to grow. I don't want to limit myself, you know? I had shit written down. I just went on total tangents. Okay, so what do we do now? How allow ourselves to be more open to growth? Okay, so a couple quick little things here. One is we care about not just ourselves, but all of society, right? We want to help society be more connected, not so much fighting and defending ourselves and having these political discussion battles, right? Then if we want to do that, we have to stop being part of the issue. How do we stop being part of the issue? Stop telling people, I told you so. Stop rubbing it in their face if you think you're right. Stop trying to get that satisfaction of, I beat this person in this conversation. That's right. You got nothing to say about what I said. I am the winner of this one. No, because if there's a winner in a conversation, then really no one's the winner. If there's a winner in a conversation, then no one's the winner. Because then we have to live in a society where it's bad to be wrong. And that, like I said, affects all of our happiness, and it ruins society as a whole, causes so much fighting and bitterness. So we gotta stop it. We gotta stop doing that. And one important thing to know here is a lot of us have had these situations where someone tells us, someone warns us. They're like, hey, you should stop doing that. You're doing this. It's going to affect your life. I'm trying to tell you, I'm trying to warn you. And we don't listen. And then we do the thing anyways. And then we realize, oh shit, that person was right. This is okay. Right? Sometimes there are things in our lives where we just have to just see through experience. That is part of the human journey, right? So don't, it only hurts our growth if we start telling ourselves, I should have listened. Way to go, Travis. You messed up. You should have listened to what they said. That's only putting myself down and hurting my growth, hurting my happiness. Instead, I tell myself, look, every human being in their life has times where someone warns us about something and then we don't do it and then we see that they were right the whole time. Every human being has those things. So don't beat yourself up when that situation happens to you. It's okay. These things happen. We have to give ourselves permission to fuck up. And that's the biggest thing. That's the last thing I'm going to say. Okay? We have to give ourselves permission to fuck up if we want to grow. That's the whole point of this whole entire video. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to fuck up. This tree will have nowhere to go if it tries to tell ourselves, oh, I can't grow in the wrong direction. All the branches need to grow the correct way and it's going to start limiting itself. No, don't. That just makes ourselves stale and frigid. If we want to be open and moving to growth, we have to give ourselves freedom to fuck up. And actually, and I'm sure you've heard this many times, but like, failing is the thing that allows us to grow. When you mess something up, that's how you learn, oh, I could do it like this instead. You know? With my videos, for the longest time, I made YouTube shorts because I thought they got me more views, right? And then I was like, you know what? What I really wanted to do was these long form videos like this. And I had to make the mistake of doing something that I was less passionate about for views and realize, fuck that. I don't care about that. I want to this is my authentic message. I want to put this out in the world, right? But I had to admit that, hey, I was wrong about that. And this is me allowing myself to grow. But I don't bully myself for making that mistake. It's okay. Of course, I make mistakes. And that has given me the freedom to explore this and to feel no shame about it at all. I feel zero shame about it. Yeah, and I'm sure I make mistakes all the fucking time. And that helps me learn and grow as a human. I'm not going to keep hammering the same point on. I think everyone gets it. But I love you so much. We're getting close to 500 subs. Please subscribe to this channel if you want to support. I love you so much. And thank you. Thank you for listening to anything that I have to say on the internet. That's pretty cool. I appreciate you all. And I hope you have a nice rest of your day. Bye.